can't feel my face. Coffee spilling all over the place. Forgot the sticks, we're turning around. Another weekend in some hockey town. With a pucked up parents, frozen toes, big hearts, bad luck. With a pucked up parents, one more tourney, one more puck. We're broke, we're loud, we love this grind. Cause our kid just scored and we lost our minds.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pucked Up Parents. I am Michael.
Hi, I'm Angela, and we are the Pucked Up Parents and have been for the last 12 years. We are novice hockey parents in a non traditional hockey town. So, everything we've learned over the last 12 years, we want to share with others and continue learning along the way.
That's true. And if you are a new hockey parent like we were 12 years ago, join us on our journey as we kind of teach you and give you tips and advice on how to survive the world of youth hockey. If you're a veteran parent, if you're a parent with a hockey background, listen in and laugh along about how we fumbled our way through hockey and how we continue to fumble our way through hockey. So let's get started, Angela. We're coming out of Martin Luther King 3-day weekend observations. I know it was a very not hockey weekend, which is odd. What's your thoughts on that, first of all?
So it's really weird. I was thinking earlier in the weekend that I think this is the first time in at least the last 10 years we've not had games or a tournament or anything over this holiday weekend. And for us, it was just by happenstance. Our high school team decided they were not going to play this weekend. Some of the kids wanted to do a ski trip. So, what, 7 or 8 of them went off and did a ski trip. And our younger kiddo, they were scheduled for some games that got canceled. So, we had a hockey free weekend, which never happens.
Yeah, this was like Haley's Comet, man. It's once in a lifetime. This is the first 3-day weekend we've had in the winter where hockey wasn't much involved. Now, the 12U did do some practice because they had the free ice time, but no games, which is super weird, and it's super weird following all the youth hockey forums online and even our own friends, and everybody's posting, "We're in Chicago, we're in Detroit, we're in Cleveland for hockey," and you and I are just kinda sitting at home, and we went out with a few friends, so a great time. I will point out another thing that's big this weekend, and especially today. It's time to start thinking about those summer hockey camps, and today was the day for quite a few camps to register. And this morning at 9 o'clock, I was on the computer like I'm buying concert tickets, waiting for that 9 o'clock to hit because they sell out fast. So luckily, I got the 12U registered. He's going to Miami Camp in Oxford, Ohio, which is a great camp. Hopefully, there's still spots left. It's not cheap, but it is a good time. So yeah, hockey camp registrations are big this weekend.
That's true, and I feel for all of our friends who are coming home from tournaments. Today is Monday, we're recording on Monday, so, lots of families coming home and having to get back to the reality of work and school tomorrow after a long weekend away at a hockey tournament.
And we'll get into this in a little bit, but not to mention the weather's been trash. I mean, it's just freezing cold outside. We're in Northern Kentucky. Our son was in Southern New York State, and snow was coming in near Cleveland, and I know it's just kind of frigid everywhere right now, which is going to get into a little bit of our topic. But before we do that, Angela, you want to recap us on the last episode last week, number 8?
So I was gonna hope that everyone made it through the weekend with all of their stuff. Nothing got broken, nothing got left behind. Because last week we talked about forgotten and broken equipment and how to handle those situations.
So I'd like to I got 2 things to add to that. Number 1, somebody did reach out to us, a business, a private business owner, small business. We love small businesses. Allhockeysticks.com. They manufacture their own sticks customized. So we're actually gonna look into that for our 6'5" high school student because it's hard to find sticks for him. So shout out to allhockeysticks.com. And Angela, you and I were at the sink yesterday laughing at a story as we were recounting Sam and his youth. Tell our listeners about the jockstrap, because we talked about how coaches, if you forget your equipment, some coaches would punish the kids by making them skate or making them do extra exercises, and I had forgotten this story, and please share it 'cause it's too funny to miss.
I'm so sorry I forgot to talk about this last week because I had honestly not really thought about it. And something came up over the weekend. Like you said, we were in the kitchen and I said, "Oh my gosh, remember that team that our oldest was on? He was probably, I don't know, 10 or 11 years old. And it was one of the parents, I think, had bought essentially a jock strap at, like, the local pharmacy. Like, looks like something your grandpa would wear playing tennis or something. It was one of those miserable old school style jock straps. And they used that if somebody forgot their cup, they had to wear the jock of shame. It was so bad.
The old man Walgreens Jock of Shame, and
Yes.
to think about them passing that around between kids who forget it each week grosses me out. That's disgusting. I hope the Jock of Shame is sitting in a landfill somewhere right now, and it's not still being passed on the rink, but knowing hockey players and hockey rinks, it's probably still out there and has a life of its own right now,
It's probably, like, hanging up on the rafters of some locker room somewhere.
like an old pair of sneakers on a, power line.
Right. Exactly,
Ok
exactly.
okay, so that's a good recap. What's our subject this week? What are we diving into this week?
Well, I thought we'd talk about what we wear as parents, like spectator and parent equipment. Obviously, rinks are cold the vast majority of the time. You're going to be cold watching a game. So, what do you wear? How do you survive being in a hockey rink and survive these weekend long tournaments, especially when it gets cold out like it is now? I know our local rink, the colder it is outside, the colder it is inside. So we thought we'd talk a little bit about how to layer up and what some of our favorite things are for us to wear to watch games.
What a great transition. Last week we talked about your kids' equipment, and now we're kind of back on the pucked up parents' path of us as parents and our concerns about ourselves. And what equipment are you showing up to at a game to protect yourself from the elements? And that elements being you're essentially sitting in a deep freeze. I mean, the ice has gotta stay cold, so it's like walking in a meat locker at a butcher shop or the beer caves at the liquor store. It's freezing in there. I'm cold-natured. I hate it. I hate being cold. My extremities go first. So, what the puck am I doing at a rink to help stay warm?
First and foremost, layers, 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 lots of layers. We know what our local rinks are like. We know what a lot of the rinks we go to on a regular basis are like and kind of what their temperature and what their feel is. So, my suggestion is always start with as many layers as you can. And if it happens to be a warm rink, you're going to remove some of those layers. But I will say the one good news about hockey rinks is that, especially if it's an indoor rink, if it's a barn, there's no wind or snow inside. Unlike our friends that have kids that play soccer and they're playing these fall tournaments and they're sitting outside and it's, 40 degrees and raining and the wind is blowing and they're freezing because of that. We at least know what we're going to get going in.
Well, and you gotta think, and I know we're gonna get to this later, but you gotta think of our friends up north who are subject to the outdoor rink, which is awesome, but also probably a pain in the ass because of how cold it is up north. So I did get some feedback on the outdoor rink. So I know we're gonna talk about that later, but to your point, you kind of know what to expect inside the rink. I know some soccer games get cold. I know some baseball games get cold, but this is a punch in the face every week of cold, especially if your home rink is not known to be warm, which ours is, it's freezing in there. And then the wild card of traveling to a rink you may or may not have been at, but you probably don't remember how cold it is, although some of them do stand out. But to Angela's point, preparing, full layers on it. So what do you got? I'm getting up in the morning, I'm rolling out of bed, I'm rubbing the crust out of my eyes. What am I putting on to stay warm?
Well, I think about it just like you would think about going out for any of the other snow sports. So if you're going out snow skiing, snowboarding, cross country skiing, even other winter activities like hiking or sledding, hunting, I know is kind of big in our area. How do you dress for those? And that's kind of how I start when I'm going to a rink. So starting with those base layers. And one of the things that is key for me, no matter what time of year it is, going to an ice rink is wool socks. Keep your feet warm, and wool socks have been my savior for many, many years. I started wearing them when I was running outside a lot, especially in the wintertime. Wool socks are great to keep your feet warm.
And you can see your point about, a lot of, hunting is big around Kentucky. That's absolutely true. You go to the rink and shout out to people from Kentucky and also West Virginia. You see them out there rocking the camouflage gear, the, hunter's orange hat, and you're like, "Ah, we got a deer hunter among us." Camouflage is a very popular color. Wool socks, I do rock those. I think I have a few pair of those, and that's what I wear. Sometimes I double up the socks. I'll put on, like, regular socks and then double up with some wool socks because my toes go quickly. What
Well,
about
and the key is don't wear cotton socks. Cotton socks are the worst because they don't wick the moisture away, and your feet get super, super cold in cotton socks. So wool socks, same thing if you're gonna do, like, thermals, so, like, your long underwear, thermal underwear, that base layer, whatever you do there, if you wanna wear thermals, that's a great option, and again, moisture wicking is key. Keep the heat in, but the moisture away from your skin because that's where you start getting really cold.
Yeah, so I do wear the long underwear, and then as I work my way up, I wear the Under Armour long sleeve shirt, and then I'm packing on a hoodie. I may pack on a fleece, now I'm gonna wear a jacket too, but I'm putting all this on under it just to be safe. So what else do we have outer layer wise?
Outer layers, your typical parkas, puffers, wearable blankets, I think are another big one that I've seen in the last few years. You've seen those, like, snuggy blankets, like
Blanket?
the
Are
s
you talking about a
well,
slanket?
no, those, like, hoodie sweatshirt blanket things that our kids have, they wear them
Okay.
around the house, but I've seen people wearing those in rinks. It's just like a gigantic hoodie that's, like, fleece on the inside, and it's like a blanket, and then there's the other, like, wearable blanket that's almost like a cape. It's got a hood, and it's fleece on the inside, and it's kinda, like, waterproof, windproof on the outside. I think a lot of parents that have, like, baseball players, soccer players, and whatnot wear those kinds of, like, wearable blankets. Literally, they go over your shoulders, kind of button around the front, have a hood. I think that's another popular thing to wear.
Either I'm thinking of a slanket, the things our kids wear, or what Clint Eastwood wore, the rug over his, cowboy, gear.
No, think about what the football players wear on the sidelines.
Okay, when
So,
they
y
run up like
yeah,
they did that game last night, they run over there with those big parka looking things with
but
no
big
sleeve.
yeah, there's no sleeves, it's just like a wearable blanket that kinda goes over your shoulders and snaps in the front, probably has, like, a hood on it or something. I'm thinking about that kinda stuff.
Alright, and then I'll get to the other one, which is, almost taken over, as a gift for me each year is the heated vest or heated hoodie, and I have both. And people online, tout these, you charge them, and they heat you up, you turn them on, the little red light glows, and you're toasty. I like them. I like them a lot.
Yeah.
I wish they held charge a little bit longer. Maybe I should charge them in my car, I don't know, but, I do like the heated one. I just got a heated vest, I gotta get it out of the box.
I think those are great options, especially if you're a cold-natured person. The heated jackets, the heated vests, they work off of a rechargeable battery. I know that I think it's called Ororo, it's ORORO is a really popular brand, as well as I think 32 Degrees, and then all of the hardware stores seem to now, like your Lowe's and Home Depot, have some sort of version of a heated jacket or heated vest, typically on the shelves, especially around the holidays.
I'll point out this for the outer layers because I've done this before repeatedly. I'm actually wearing a toboggan right now with a cardinal on it because I went to Louisville. But be careful about what you're choosing color wise because I've rolled up into games with like not our team gear on because I don't have much, and I'm wearing the opposing team's colors by mistake. And I heard from the 12-year-old, "What the heck you doing wearing blue and yellow? That's the other team." Like happenstance that I picked these up.
Well, and I have to point out something too. You use the word toboggan. Toboggan in the vast majority of the world is a sled, not a hat. What you're wearing is a beanie.
A beanie.
Toboggan is a very much a Kentucky Appalachia term for a beanie.
Okay, because when I think of a beanie, I'm thinking like a stupid hat with a propeller on top of it. That's a beanie to me.
Yeah,
Toboggan
no.
is a toasty it hat that you wear on your head.
But all of our listeners from outside of this area think you're talking about a sled when you say the word toboggan.
Okay, I'm not wearing a sled on my head, just to be clear, it's a knit U of L, I'm sorry, what was it called again? A beanie. I'm wearing
Beanie.
a beanie on my head, like a
Yes,
stupid bird.
yes.
Alright, now let's talk about the hands. My fingers they go quick. I'm super skinny, I don't have much, fat around me, and the fingers are long and thin, and they go numb. What do you recommend?
So I just went snow skiing this morning. My favorite thing is mittens. I think mittens keep your fingers warmer than gloves, but obviously gloves are a big choice. But also the hand warmers. They're the kind that you can just open and they activate when they hit oxygen. Those kinds of like old school kind of toss them out at when you're done with them hand warmers. But they're also rechargeable hand warmers. I know my parents have a set of rechargeable hand warmers similar to your chargeable heated vest. They're just little kind of little box that heats up and you can hold it in your hand, keep it in your pocket, and keep your hands warm.
That just doesn't seem safe to me, but okay, sure. And the hot hands, we've had hot hands for years, the box off.
Right.
And then
But I mean, it's no different than wearing a heated vest. It's just a
that's
little
true.
box that heats up and you hold it in your pocket or hold it in your hands, keep your hands warm.
Are you doubling up the mittens and the gloves like your Lloyd Christmas on Dumb and Dumber?
Really don't because I don't get cold that easily.
Oh man, I do.
So
And then as far as boots, I do lack in boots. So you wear like the snow boots or winter boots, like the with the fluffy insulation, right? Do you wear those?
yeah, so I have an affinity for shoes, as you know,
Oh yeah.
and I tend to wear either, some sort of a snow boot or some other winter shoes. So a lot of the outdoors companies have kind of winter versions of sneakers or shoes or whatever that just have some more lining on the inside. I have a pair of Merrells that are I think they're called snow sneakers or something that I really like to wear because they keep my feet nice and warm because they're extra insulated, and they're waterproof, so if it does snow outside, I'm not sloshing around and getting my feet wet.
Angela's shoe collection is slowly invading my side of the closet, which our closet's the size of a small bedroom. So my gosh, the number of shoes she has. So I imagine she does have like plenty of snow boots where I have one pair of boots. They're from the firehouse and they are not insulated. They're steel toe. So that's where I've got to double up on the socks.
Well, let's talk about where you can go get some new boots,
All right.
and
I love to shop.
some
You
of
know,
my
I love clothes
favorite
shopping. I love clothes
my
shopping.
my favorite brands and places to get all of this winter gear. So, I just mentioned the Merrells that I wear a lot. REI is a great place to get winter stuff as well as, all the North Face, Patagonia. I am a smart wool aficionado. I love my smart wool socks. One of my favorites, and Columbia is another classic of the outdoor gear, winter stuff. And I'm also a bargain shopper, so I'm gonna look for the discount retailers on all of this stuff. So some of my favorites are Sierra, which is kind of a TJ Maxx brand, backcountry. I've gotten a lot of stuff at Costco. Costco has some great deals on the winter stuff, especially the heated jackets and vests. They usually have a good supply of those around the holidays. And I like to shop at the thrift stores too, so I've picked up some good stuff at thrift stores as well.
Go to the thrift store. Somebody's grandma just bought it last week and had a fur coat that you can buy for the rink.
Not a fur coat, I'm talking, like, Patagonia hoodies and,
Fake fur.
things along those lines, not grandma's fur coat,
Dead grandma's fur coat.
not dead grandma's fur coat. That's
And
weird.
and so, yeah, you're piling all this stuff on, you're in the rink, you're freezing your ass off, and now it's time to leave. You walk outside, it's 60 degrees, you're heading to the restaurant to have some lunch with all the team, and you're throwing off clothes now. So that trunk gets popped open and jackets and everything else in. I've also thought about rocking a scarf at a game. What do you think about that? Like maybe a sassy scarf for me to wear?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, if you really needed the extra warmth, we could come up with something, but, I don't really see you as a scarf guy.
So if you see a 6'3" guy at your hockey rink who looks like the kid from the A Christmas
Oh,
Story,
Christmas Story.
yeah, that's probably me. So
You
I
can't when you can't put your arms down
can't
because you're puffy
oh,
and you
and
look
don't
too
even get me
big.
started on trying to go to the bathroom. It's like, pull my pants down, I gotta pull the, the Under Armour down, I gotta pull the underwear down. So, on top of it, it's cold, guys, if you know what I'm talking about when it gets cold outside. Let's just
Yeah,
say
there's a Seinfeld episode on that if you need a reference.
frightened turtle is the reference on the Seinfeld show, so, yeah, explain that to your kids. And then
Yeah, and I think the other thing I wanna throw out there about the layers is I don't like driving in, like, a heavy jacket and all of the heavy stuff. I'm just not comfortable, especially if I'm driving a couple of hours. I like to be able to pull off of some of those layers as I'm driving as well, which is another reason I prefer layers over just one heavy coat or something.
And then, see you have a note here, a warm drink, coffee.
Yes.
Yes, bring the thermos, a good thermos to keep that coffee hot when you're firing up that Keurig in the hotel room like I do. You
Ew.
bring some coffee to the rink, or you drink the rink coffee. Yeah, a nice toasty warm drink, hot chocolate. You have hot chocolate written down here, but man, hot chocolate puts me to sleep.
Well, I mean, hot chocolate, but you could always make it like a boozy hot chocolate for some of those evening games where you're not
Double it up.
driving home from. So keep that in mind too in that Yeti cup.
I got boozy hot chocolate. It's gonna be, nap time. The Sandman's with me.
Sleepy time after that.
Mikey needs a nap. Let's talk about Are We There Yet? Let's talk, and this is actually hitting on Are We There Yet segment, which is rinks and road trips, and we are gonna nail this is the rink time. Let's talk about the rinks when we go to the rinks, the warmest place to sit, as if that even exists. What do you got for that?
I know our home rink, we have a lobby area that's warmer, and one of the rinks that we have close to us, the concession stand area that's extra insulated and has heat. And you could be lucky and have a bar at your rink, and those are typically pretty warm. You could hang out in the bar, and the locker rooms tend to be, at least some of the rinks are warmer than the seating areas and whatnot. So find your place, especially at your home rink that's nice and warm, so you can thaw out before the game or after the game, between games.
And even when you're sitting in the bleachers, at least for me, on our local rink where our oldest plays, they have wooden seats. It's a wooden bleachers,
Right.
and those things get kinda damp and moist despite how cold it is, so if you don't have a I know you put a blanket down. Otherwise, you're gonna stand up and your ass is gonna be all wet and cold, and then on top of that, the aluminum bleachers, which just absorb that coldness. So I have a seat cushion that was a giveaway at my company that I bring in to sit on, and I know you always bring in a blanket to sit on.
Right, but I've also seen other parents with almost like those bleacher chairs. So it's like a folding chair almost that attaches onto bleachers that
Yeah.
has the backrest and all of that. I've seen a lot of those. And there's actually, we need to look at this for you. They have the seat, like the seat pads, the bleacher pads that are actually heated as well. I think that's another one of those things in the hunting section of the sporting goods store.
Great. I'm gonna be wrapped up in a heated blanket, with a heated vest on and a heated seat. You're slowly cooking me throughout the day like I'm in a crock pot.
We'll make sure we set it at a nice, comfortable temperature
Great,
for
great.
you.
Gonna have Michael chili at the end of the night. And
Bake it 350 for an hour.
all right, the next subject absolutely tears me up because we've been to hundreds of rinks that have been cold, and they all seem to have these, but they're never on the rink heater. And let's talk about rink heaters.
So many times you go into an ice rink and you look up and there are all sorts of pipes and different things up on the ceiling and you're like, "Oh, look, there's a heater. It's going to be warm in here." And those heaters are never on. And I think we've kind of determined that either they're just not on for whatever reason, and I know there's a variety of reasons that rinks don't turn them on. Obviously, it's probably expensive to run those things to add that extra heat, and then it's a kind of a yin yang thing of you're trying to keep the ice cold, but you're trying to keep the bleachers warm, which is another issue. And then we found some places that have timers on those heaters where you have to go find a switch somewhere to turn on the timer, kind of like you do the hot tub at the hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And I always think that, did you mention the quarter one? Where you pay for it?
No, I haven't mentioned the
Yeah,
quarter one yet.
so there are ones where you have to keep quarters to pay for it, like it's a vibrating bed in the '80s in a hotel room. You put the quarter in and I guess it turns on the heat for a short period of time. I'll tell
I
you,
was thinking quarters like the laundry mat, but I mean, if you want to go to that,
I think it was Family Vacation where they had
it
the
was family
okay, it was Family
vacation.
Vacation where they put the quarters in the bed shook. Alright, I did some research on this topic because it bothers me the most because I'm cold and those stupid heaters are just there, like, serving no purpose other than aesthetics, and I reached out to our, people who follow us on Facebook and put out a little survey. How many of them are on versus how many of them are off? Now, 322 people answered. What percentage of those do you think were on? Said their heaters were on, and I put the scenario.
Le-
The rink is cold, you're freezing,
right.
you have heaters. Are they on, yes or no?
I'd say less than 10%.
Okay, 15%. It was
Okay.
15%. So 51 voted, yes, they are absolutely on. 84%, those things are off. And there was a different variety of reasons. One parent, her name was Anna, she said they're only on for the high school and the tournament games, so the important games. So your kid's might game didn't matter enough. We talked about this may ruin parts of the ice may melt because of this. And another one said to add insult to injury, they have the heaters, they're not on, but they do have a blower and it blows cold air on them. So that's not only a kick in the pants, but also a slap to the face with the cold air.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Another guy brought up something I never heard of, heated bleachers. Can you imagine that? A heated bleacher.
Ooh, so you got your buns are toasty. I mean, you've got your seat warmer in the car, so I guess the same kinda concept there. Your buns are toasty.
I can't remember which rink we went to, and they had the heaters on, and they were glorious. I felt like a Whopper under the heat lamp at Burger King. I mean, it was glorious, like, just the heat coming off of it, I could shed some layers. It was rare.
There are 2 rinks that I can think of that we've had that experience, and one, I know they had metal bleachers, and I wanted to lay down on the metal bleacher, put my face on it because it was so hot in there, I wanted to cool my face off, felt like I was getting a sunburn, and then there was another rink that I remember I was peeling out of all my layers till I was down to, like, my t-shirt and jeans and was still, like, sweating and wanted to lay down on the ice and do snow angels.
You feel like you're in a tanning bed.
Right, but that's so unusual for that to actually happen, but it does.
Yeah, it's super rare, but it does happen. And then, we talk about, like, the warm observation areas, our rink that we're going to, our 12U, they're actually making an observation area, so it's that closed off, warm area, and a lot of times they might have a bar up there, so not only are you toasty, you get a nice cold drink with it, cold drink.
Yeah. You're typically up high and overlooking the rink behind glass, so you don't get the sounds of the rink, which is one, I think, downfall, at least for me, because I like to hear what's going on in the
I
rink.
agree.
So when you're in those, observation areas, you don't get the full experience, the full immersive experience, but it is nice, especially when you have grandparents or younger siblings or something along those lines to watch the game and still be able to see the game and not freeze to death.
Well, and that's also a gathering spot for people who don't have games yet. I'm one of those parents. I'll go up there, sit on the glass for a game I don't even care about, reading a book, taking a spot just to stay warm until my kids' game. So it has its advantages, it has its disadvantages. I'm probably the disadvantage because I'm taking somebody's spot on the glass.
I was gonna say you gotta watch out because people will camp out in those areas. They find their spot and leave their stuff there and camp out, and when you wanna get to the glass, you can't always get there because somebody's camped out
Oh, yeah, they're
there.
throwing like a notebook and a laptop and a cell phone down there, and then they disappear for 4 hours, and that spot is not taken, not used, and it really drives us crazy. We're gonna go into that in a later episode, uh,
Yeah.
parents at the rink and the habits, good or bad, that people have. Let's talk about something you and I don't have much exposure to, outdoor rinks. What's
With
your
ODR, we have to use the acronym ODR.
I can't say outdoor rinks and I can't say toboggan. The ODR and beanies. Continue.
No, I just wanna make sure everybody's aware of that, acronym. So we actually, our youngest had this experience a couple of years ago. We were scheduled for a game at an indoor rink, and we got there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you guys are playing on the outdoor rink today." And so we had to leave the indoor rink, go to the outdoor rink, and I was completely unprepared because I was thinking that we were going to be inside, and I was familiar with that rink and knew, kind of how to dress for it. So if you're playing at an outdoor rink, it's gonna probably require extra layers, extra hand warmers, and extra everything.
I didn't go to that tournament. I'm glad I did not, because if it were me, I would, like, go in some alley, find one of those metal barrels, and make me a nice, like, barrel fire to sit next to,
You're
or
like Rocky?
oh, yeah, like Rocky, exactly, or one of those, you ever seen, like, the soccer moms have them? I say soccer moms, sorry, soccer parents, and it's like a little personal
Oh,
tent. It looks
the
like a
little
vinyl porta potty. Yeah,
yes.
I'd be camped out there with the sign on the outside, Henry's dad, so the people know who
Yeah.
they can say hi.
Yeah, well, one thing I did learn at that particular ODR was try to find something to stand on that's not snow or ice. So find those rubber mats or something to stand on other than the ice because standing on ice makes your feet cold real quick.
I'm also picturing, and I know this probably doesn't exist, but like a, empty f like a f you're in a field, and so you could just pull up in your car and park right next to the edge of the ice and sit in your toasty car with the headlights on while you watch your kid play. I don't know, that's like maybe something I saw in a movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be what was it, Grumpy Old Men when they were ice fishing? That's what that's what I'm picturing there, where you're driving your truck out onto the ice.
Exactly, yeah, 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 like, just a pond, a frozen pond, and you're just pulling your car up there and watching your kid play. So
That may be the case up, further way further north than where we are.
so the ODR rink, we just don't have enough experience. We do occasionally, there is a park that freezes over up in Cincinnati, shout out to Eden Park, and our kids do play up there, but it's not a formalized ice rink, and then, I've always been a proponent, we have a downtown ice rink at Christmas time, and I think it's going on right now, and I bug them. I messaged them, "Let's have a game there," and they never messaged me back. I thought it'd be cool to, like, show the kids off. I know, this city doesn't
It
promote
you
hockey.
also have to remember that that's not like an actual hockey rink either. It is a, like, portable, part-time, temporary rink that they set up. It's not appropriately sized to play hockey on. So I think that might be part of the issue there. But anyways, I do wanna to say with the ODR that the kids will probably need extra layers too. When we did that, outdoor rink a couple of years ago, we were putting beanies on under the helmet, extra layer of under gear, extra gloves, those little magic gloves, the tiny gloves that just slide on over your hands underneath the hockey gloves because it
Yeah,
was so cold.
and I've seen skates that are specific for outdoor rinks and they have the insulation built into the ice skate to help kids. I've seen those being sold before. And I've seen this the outdoor rink has become very popular right now on social media, on the Instagram and the Facebook. People are asking opinions on how to get dressed and everything else because 'tis the season for the outdoor rink, especially right now when it's 10 degrees outside. Life moves pretty fast. Angela, what's your reflections on this?
Well, I think we're at a point where it's pretty rare for us to find ourselves at a rink we haven't visited at least once. It's fewer and far between when we show up at a rink and go, "Oh, I've never been here before." So I think that's interesting for us in a lot of different ways, and I think we've developed some favorites rinks over the years, some ones that we know well, we've been to many times. Where we know where the best place to sit is or where the timer is for the heater. But one of our favorite things to play with our older son's team and some of the parents that we've been with for a long time is we play a little game of where were we when? We'll think of some crazy thing that happened and it's a fun way to reminisce. We'll say, "Oh, where were we when Sam forgot his sticks?" And obviously there's multiple times that's happened, but we'll talk about, "Oh yeah, that one time we were going to Indianapolis when he forgot his whole bag." And we kind of chit chat about those fun times or those interesting memories that we have from a particular rink or a particular town. And one thing that I have to say about that is that it's usually not what the team did, who we beat, whether we won the tournament or lost the tournament. It's usually more about some connection that we made or some funny thing that happened or whatever. So I just bring that back up. I know we've talked about that many times. It's not always about the wins. It's about the relationships and the bonding with your kids and their teammates.
There's so much more to this and that, I relate cities to experiences, what we did there, where did we eat,
Yeah.
what food did we eat? And to your point about the rinks, we're finding ourselves at a point where we've been to the rink, but for me personally, I'll know that I've been to that rink, but it doesn't hit me until I pull up in that parking lot. I'm like, "Oh, yeah, this one." And I had that last year when I pulled up or earlier this season in St. Louis. Shout out to St. Louis. It was a rink that was attached to an old abandoned mall. And when I on a piece of paper, when I mapped it, didn't know where I was going, didn't know what I doing where I was gonna be, pulled up in the parking lot, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, the mall." Like, there's a Wetzel's Pretzels right there that used to be, and now there's an ice rink right here. Great rink, by the way, it's just attached to a mall, but you don't realize you had been to that rink until you actually pull in the parking lot for the most part. Otherwise, there are the rinks that really, really, really do stand out that you absolutely love or that you absolutely hate, and you're gonna visit them a lot over the course of your kid's hockey career. So, great point. I think there's more substance to that for future episodes, especially the where were we when, so we can relate to different cities because you see it a lot. Tip of the week. What do you got for a tip?
We've talked a lot about extra layers and extra stuff. Tip of the week is leave some of those extra layers in your vehicle: gloves, hats, jackets, blankets, boots. You never know when you're going to show up to a rink that's going to be extra cold and you can throw some extra stuff on, or when you just forget, because I am one to forget stuff all the time. So keeping it in my vehicle keeps it handy. And you never know. Like I said earlier, we were expecting to play in a rink and got moved to an outdoor rink. And yeah, that was a time when we needed some extra layers, and it was
Yeah,
good to have those in the car.
we've covered this multiple times. We talked about it during our road trip episode. We also talked about this doing our equipment repair. But when you didn't play hockey in your trunk, hopefully you had an emergency kit. You have jumper cables. You have flares. You have a flashlight. You have a few tools. As you become a hockey parent, you're going to carry other emergency equipment, repair kits for your kids, like we talked about last week. On top of that, now you're carrying stuff to keep you warm at hockey rinks that you don't know about: blankets, extra jackets, hot hands, gloves. I have it tucked in my corner of my in my car, in my trunk right now. There is a dad's away at a hockey trip and he forgot something. Here's what you need to keep you warm. So yes.
Right.
Yep.
I think we both have one of those trunk organizer bins. It's, like a little bin that has some pockets on the sides, and you can put your blankets in there and some extra gloves in the side, and, have all of those things that you just leave in the car because you never know when you're going to need them. Or when you forget something, you've got extras.
And much like your kids' equipment, make sure you wash its stuff every once in a while. That old raggedy blanket that you're taking to every rink, give it a wash there at a Christmas break or once the season is up, because nobody wants to see that stank, stiff, crispy thing at the rink wrapped around you.
Well, because you've spilled coffee on it, or you've spilled, something else on, you spilled coffee or beer or whatever on it several times. You've used it to clean up a spill. Yeah, those definitely need to be
Oh, I
washed.
got something absolutely nothing to do with any of the subject that we're talking about, but we were challenged by a listener to do an episode on hockey smells. So this
Hockey smells?
hockey smells, I go, if we can do an episode on tape, there may be some substance there to do a hockey smell episode. I don't know. We can figure something out.
Okay, I'll have to think on that one and see what I can come up with.
Dank
I
Frito episode 11.
I like a challenge.
I know you like a challenge. Do you have anything else? Anything you wanna summarize here? That seemed to go by pretty quick, but I think we got a lot out. Keeping
Yeah.
it's the dead of winter right now, and it's not fun at hockey rinks that don't have heaters, and that's 85% of them apparently.
If you guys have some products, or, special jacket that you have, or, one of those blankets that I was talking about, and you have a product or a brand that you really like, send it to us. We'll check it out.
Yeah, or
We're
if
always
you,
on the
go
lookout for these things.
your favorite beanie and toboggan, and if you go to outdoor rinks, your favorite barrel to burn trash in. So, yeah, please share those with us. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram. We're very responsive. We also take comments on Spotify. Please give us your feedback, give us your topics, and more importantly, give us your funny stories, because I'm getting some comments. I know you've gotten some, and there's some humorous people out there with these hockey experiences, clearly living the same life that you and I have for the last 12 years. So, Angela, with that said, why don't you take us on to our outro?
Follow, subscribe, share, review, share with your friends. Let your friends know we're doing this, and give us some feedback. We appreciate it for sure.
We do appreciate it. We've gotten over 1,500 downloads, which is outstanding. We got 600 followers on Facebook, which is amazing. Remember, we do have merchandise online. And like I say every week, keep your stick on the ice. We're all in this together. And please stay warm. Goodbye.
Up before dawn, can't feel my face. Coffee spilling all over the place. Forgot the sticks, we're turning around. Another weekend in some hockey town. With a parked up parents, frozen toes, big heart.